The very first QMC championship was decided in Marathon 2 seasons ago, and today we return to the track for Season 3. Hello everyone, I'm your host Quack, and right now the Ivy League have a narrow lead over the 4K Pixels, but of course back from them it's almost 50 points to Team Pixie and the Stingrays. Here is the track though, it's brand new for this season. The Flying Saucers have brought us a brand new track concept, and here you can see those winding turns into a hard left-hander, into a hard right-hander, several turns to end out the course, 14 of them, and of course here is the track layout. Phobos Orbit is the name, and it's sure to be a great race. We saw the Big Kahuna, we've seen the Robodrome, but Phobos Orbit is nothing like those. It's got so many turns, so many chicanes, so many places to get caught up. And of course, unlike the Season 1 version, this event will have a qualifying grid placement race, so we'll have to see how that develops. But of course, we begin with the demo run. All 4 teams sending their captain, of course, for this very physically testing event. And away we go. The Event Horizons, unsurprisingly, starting off with the lead for the very first ever lap of Phobos Orbit. Right now, Fight is practicing in second, but with a shove from Mach 5, the Galactic Empire shoot it by into second place. I think that's how the positions will stay for the rest of the lap. A bit of a quick one, but of course similar to the pace of the previous 2 seasons with their circuit races. But of course we'll see how this races when there's more than 4 marbles on it. There was a big denial right there where Cosmo got blocked by Supergiant, and of course the Event Horizon is going to get the 12.09 to be the first opening time of this lap. We'll have to see how the other teams can compare as we're getting ready now for the qualifier race. This will just be a 3-lap shootout to determine pole, but of course it's reverse championship standing, so the Avocados starting out front, the Ivy League back behind. And we're away, it's the Avocados in the lead right now, but the King Crabs quickly seal them off in that one of those very first few turns. The Pollen Puffs, though, not far behind, and now they take the lead back, and suddenly they're back in the driver's seat. The Snapping Turtles also up in there right now in 3rd place. They got a medal back in Season 1 Marathon. They're trying to get on the front row here. Right now, the Azure Diamond's not too far behind, and the Ivy League have made a big move. They're already up into the top 4 now. They started 16th on the grid, and now they're heading into the top 3 in the final lap now. The Pollen Puffs have this one in the bag unless the King Crabs can do something about it, and they're going to get blocked there. The Ivy League, though, are challenging now for the lead from 16th on the grid. I don't think they're going to do it, but in 3 laps, they managed to go all the way up to 2nd place from dead last. A 14 position gain is amazing for the championship leaders, and that is terrible for the 4K Pixels. They did not get nearly as good of a start, and I think they started down in the bottom 3. Their result here was not what they were hoping for. Of course, this is only the placement race. We'll have to see how this compares to the actual racing, if maybe the 4K Pixels just saving their energy, knowing this is going to be a long race anyway. The starting grid is slowly going to become less and less important as time goes on, but we'll have to see if that strategy pays off for them. Of course, this event was held back in Season 1 where the Loaves of Bread won it, and of course, Roll is back here, but they'll be starting 12th place on the grid. Not great for them. Meanwhile, Shelby, the reserve of the Snapping Turtles, another medalist in this event back in Season 1 who led laps, and they're starting in 7th. They're one to watch, as well as the Stingrays with Electric in 10th. But Team Pixie and the 4K Pixels, both in the bottom 3, is not what they wanted to see. Trying to catch up to the Ivy League, who will be starting on the front row. But of course, it means it's time for the main event, the Marathon, Event 12, and we are away. The Pollen Puffs start off with the lead, the Ivy League with Patina, the Season 2 MVM in 2nd place. The Avocados, of course, staying in 3rd place. Meanwhile, where are the 4K Pixels right now? They haven't gained a single position. They're at the very back. The City Lights have even passed them as the Pollen Puffs lead us down into lap 2. There are 28 laps of this race. It's a tiny bit shorter than the Season 1 version, but the King Crabs will take the lead heading into the 3rd one of those 28. The Chili Peppers also competitive right now, up into 3rd place over the Ivy League. The Ivy League trying to get another medal this season to really seal the deal. But right now the Avocados are not making it easy for them. Now they're up into the top 4, and now they're up into the top 3. The Avocados trying to get another medal this season. They haven't had one since Event 6, and they're at the very bottom of the standings right now. They're challenging the Pollen Puffs for 2nd, but they're not going to be able to do it. We're seeing how chaotic that chicane section is as the Red Rockets are making a lot of moves, and suddenly they're up into the top 2. The Red Rockets might be a challenger here. Payload did a great job in Marbleau Cross last season, and right now they're navigating perfectly through the chicane, as does Shelby, who's gained up into the top 5. So far, things have been very chaotic up there, but meanwhile, the 4K Pixels still at the back. The Ivy League have slipped quite a bit. They're already outside the top half, I think, but right now they're just trying to keep up and stay ahead of those championship contenders behind them. The King Crabs, though, leading the way down once again, as I've said so many times before in this league. But now the Pollen Puffs are giving a challenge. They're looking to the far side, to the near side. It's not going to happen yet. They're going to have to wait for their challenge to the next lap. We're already a quarter of the way through this race. The King Crabs have controlled the pace pretty much all the way through. The Pollen Puffs are losing the pace here now. They're starting to slip. That lead is growing quite a bit. As we look farther back, The green teams are all fighting for that 4th place spot. The Avocados have it right now, but the Ivy League are not far behind, and we know how great they are at racing. Bettina won Marble Cross last season, and of course we know that was only halfway track, but it's looking like they're still great at this one, making it past up into 4th place now. The Avocados and Chili Peppers, a familiar rivalry, not too far behind them, but back up front, the top 3 are only a length apart, as now the Red Rockets challenging for 2nd. They're not going to find their way through on the chicane, but the Chili Peppers are coming into things all of a sudden. They're now up into 4th place as the gaps are shrinking. The King Crabs still leading us down for now as the Pollen Puffs seal them off through the hard right-hander, and now they have a pretty sizable lead heading for the rest of the lap. The King Crabs in 2nd, though. The Red Rockets not far behind them as those 3 continue to duel. The Red Rockets and King Crabs side by side, and the Red Rockets get the advantage heading into the next lap. Now they're challenging the Pollen Puffs. They're going to go around the outside, and the Red Rockets have the lead with payload. That's something I've been able to say before back in Marble Cross, but will they make it stick this time? The Chili Peppers also coming up into things. They've climbed up through a lot of the field, and now they're challenging the Pollen Puffs for the 2nd place spot. The Ivy League, though, not making things easy for the King Crabs, who've already slipped outside the top 4 in only a matter of a lap or so. The Pollen Puffs now facing challenges from Bettina, the Ivy League, trying to get another medal this season, but of course we'll see if they can make it stick. As we look further back in the field, the 4K Pixels still at the very back. Not good for their championship hopes. As we look farther back up, the Pollen Puffs still holding on to that 2nd place spot. They don't have a single medal this season, and they're trying to finally get one with Nectar, or with Seed, but how long will this hold? As the King Crabs are right behind them, the Chili Peppers as well, fighting with the Ivy League for now, as these top few are still very close, and now they're all gaining on the Red Rockets. Does Payload have something to answer for? It doesn't look like it. The King Crabs not going to have time to go around this lap, as the Chili Peppers and Ivy League continuing to duel. Shelby now coming up into things from the Snapping Turtles. Of course, they did great back in Season 1 version of this event. It looks like Roll from the Loaves of Red also doing well. Another one of those medalists from Season 1. It looks like the Red Rockets still controlling the pace for now, as we're already well past the halfway point, with the King Crabs not too far behind them. A familiar top 2, and they're going at it once again. The King Crabs looking for a way around. They're not going to have time through this chicane, and now the Chili Peppers are right back on their doorstep. The top 3, a very red top 3, as they start to spread out just a little bit more. The Pollen Puffs, it's starting to slip from them. Are they going to lose the chance for their first medal of the season? The Chili Peppers, meanwhile, are also looking for their first medal of the season. They're in the 3rd place spot right now, but will it be able to stick? The Ivy League starting to slip a little bit as we look further back in the field. Teams like the Stingrays are really not making up the ground they need to, as the Chili Peppers make a move up into 2nd place, now challenging for the lead, but they're not going to have it this lap. But still, teams like the 4K Pixels, the City Lights, are already way behind the rest of the field. Team Pixie, even, who medaled in Marble Cross, have been absolutely absent this entire race. I think they're higher up there. There they are on the top layer of the track as the Stingrays make a pass on the Jelly Jammers. Several movements happening in the back, but not nearly fast enough for teams like the 4K Pixels. We're getting down to the last quarter of the race as Shelby threads the needle once again. We've seen them do that before, and now they're up into the top 3. Could the Snapping Turtles be on for another medal in Marathon? Now they're trying to close in on the Chili Peppers, but the King Crabs, their aquatic animal rivals, back at it once again. The Pollen Puffs also on their doorstep. It's a battle for 3rd place, starting to turn into a battle for 2nd as they're closing in on the Chili Peppers with all that fighting. Of course, the Payload is loving this. They're just running away with that lead, knowing that this is slowing everybody else down as there's Metro, the captain of the City Lights, at the very back of the field, now the back markers starting to get caught by Payload, setting impeccable lap times so far. But meanwhile, 2nd through 6th, they're all right next to each other. Shelby goes around and now has 2nd place, trying to track down the leader, but of course they only have 3 laps to go. And now here's Roll from the Loaves of Bread. I haven't even mentioned them for most of this race, but now they're trying to also get another medal in Marathon. A familiar top 3, at least 2 of them are, and all of these teams have already medaled in a circuit race in some form. These top 3 have, as we're getting down to the final 2 laps. Payload has a solid lead, but Shelby has been closing in bit by bit every lap. Even these other teams, there's so many within striking distance. As we're coming down now for the penultimate time, only 1 step apart on the elevator for the final lap. The Red Rockets trying to get their first gold medal in a long time. Shelby trying to challenge them. Here come the Chili Peppers around the outside. They take 2nd place. Can they take the lead? They're not going to have time. Shelby seals them off, and that's the end of the race. The Red Rockets lead for over half the track, and it's going to do it. The Red Rockets have won gold in the marathon. There are the 4K Pixels well behind the rest of the field. What happened to them? They've shown so much promise throughout this season, but here it is all fallen apart. They didn't quite get dead last thanks to the City Lights, but still losing a lot of ground on the Ivy League, who managed to stay pretty consistently in the top half. They never quite managed to get onto that podium for more than a lap or so, but either way, I think 7th place is going to be enough to stretch that lead quite a bit. And look at Shelby there threading the needle once again. They pulled off a lot of similar moves back in the Season 1 version, and of course, even with a totally different track layout, they know how to make some theatrics happen and weave their way through the field. There were teams like the Stone Golems, the Jelly Jammers, the Flying Saucers I barely even got to mention because of how much chaos there was at the front of the field. 28 laps, but they flew by. And the King Crabs, unfortunately, not able to get a medal here. They came so very close, and they still haven't gotten a single medal since the very first event. There are so many places where teams just tumbled over each other, and this track was very chaotic. Back in Season 1, we really saw the top 6 start to run away from the rest of the field, but here we saw so many marbles manage to come and go into this battle. The Pollen Puffs even led for a little bit. That was something I did not see coming, despite starting well on a good spot in the qualifier race. The Chili Peppers also did a great job. They did a great job in this event back in Season 1. They elected to send Cayenne this time instead of their captain, and it seemed to work out well for them. A bronze medal, their first of the season, will be going to them, and this highlight reel is quite long, but of course this was quite a race. There was that moment where Hermit tried to get back around into the lead. It didn't quite work out for them, though. And Shelby also biding their time. Last season, or not last season, back in Season 1, we saw they led for quite a while, but in the end they just lost their energy and started to slip as Roll passed them by. But this time they bided their time and waited until they could get around into the silver medal spot, and if there had just been a lap longer, they might have had a chance at the gold. There was another move. Shelby was really using that chicane to the best of their ability. Those 3 turns, those 3 soft 45-degree turns were just really the pinnacle of this race, making sure every single marble had chances to move up through the field. And right there, as we got later into this race, we saw the bag markers really start to slow to a crawl, and there was the final moment. Payload gets it done, though. They missed the podium back in Season 1 Marathon. That was the nail in the coffin for their hopes at the Season 1 championship. In Season 2, they just narrowly missed the gold medal in Marble Across on the final lap, but this time, they will stand on top of the podium. The Snapping Turtles in second place as well, getting another medal this season, and the Chili Peppers finally able to get their first, but here is the podium. In Season 1, this is where the Red Rockets' hopes were dashed, but this time they will be the ones dashing to the top of that podium above the Snapping Turtles, who are now 2-time marathon medalists. But of course, we look at the standings now. The Red Rockets have broken the top 4 fortress that those teams have built, and suddenly the Stingrays have slipped down into 5th place. Meanwhile, the bottom 3 teams, the Pollen Puffs, Jelly Jammers, and Avocados, 2 teams that are rookies, one that's, well, the Pollen Puffs, are out of championship contention. The King Crabs are on the cusp of it now. I don't think a second championship is likely for them at this point, but the lead is enormous now as we head into the next event, which will be the Gravitrax Relay. So stay tuned, and thank you for watching.